Hi everyone, this is Miss Zahra. We are reviewing for the end of Term 2 Science exam, and in this video we are looking at Lesson 4 Heat. The pages that will come in the exam are page 69, 70, 71, and 74. This page over here, page 70, will have a free response question. That means writing. The other pages will have multiple choice questions. You can see in red that I have circled pictures because on this page the question will be about the picture, and on this page they have told us also it will be about the figure, but I'm not sure which picture it will be about. So you must understand how to answer questions about all of them. Okay, so we will start with page 69. If we look at these two blocks, right, this block has a high temperature. That means that it is warmer or hotter, right? So we can say this one has a higher temperature and this one has a lower temperature. Heat is the movement of thermal energy. Okay, so the word heat means the movement or transfer of thermal energy. And that energy moves from the hot object to the cold object until they are the same temperature. When they are the same temperature, it will stop moving. Okay, so the key concept you need to remember is that energy will always flow from the warmer object to the cooler object. So from the warmer to the cooler object until they are the same temperature. And the one with the higher temperature has more energy. Now let's look at the three ways this happens. We call this heat transfer. Heat can transfer when two things are touching each other, like in the first picture. We call this conduction. They can also travel as fluids like water, which is your liquid, or air, which is a gas. The hot air at the bottom, the particles get hot, they rise up. At the top, the cooler ones are pushed down, and it continues in this circular shape. Okay, so at the bottom here, imagine that there is a V as it goes up and down. And the reason for that is because conduction and vection look almost the same. But this one that is touching has a D, and the one that is going up and down has a V. Okay, so please remember the difference. Okay, so this one travels in a circular motion, like a circle shape. This one is touching. And then there are days when heat transfers through empty space as a wave. And this happens in radiation, like when the sun's energy comes through space, radiation. Okay, so they may ask you these three questions. They may also ask you what type of energy is transferred. Remember, that is thermal energy. Heat transfers thermal energy. Now we're going to talk about the speed that it transfers at. So radiation, because it is moving through empty space, is very fast. It is the fastest by radiation because it travels through empty space. Convection travels in liquids and gases, so it is also fast. And conduction is the slowest that heat travels, and that is because it needs to go through every single particle as they have to touch each other for the ends to get hot. So it takes a lot of time for this to happen. If the particles are close, you see that it heats up faster. But if I had to move them away from each other, it would take time for this one to touch this one and then to touch the next one and transfer the energy. So by conduction, heat transfer is fastest in solids when they are close together. It is slower in a liquid, and it is the slowest in a gas. And this is important for us because it introduces the topic of thermal conductivity. So thermal conductivity is how good a material is at transferring heat. Ability means how good it is or how bad. How good or bad a material is at transferring heat. We already said that solids are very good, and then liquids, and last gas. So why is this important? Because sometimes we want materials to get hot, and we call these conductors. They allow the heat to move through quickly. Just like with electricity, we also had conductor. Conductor means the same thing for both. So thermal conductors allow heat to move through quickly, and thermal insulators do not allow the heat to move through. So they stop the movement of the heat, right? They don't let it through. So why is this important? If we look at the materials we have here, people use these different things like jackets to keep ourselves warm. We wear a jacket when the air is very cold. And because thermal energy moves from hot to cold, it would move from your body, which is hot, to the air, which is cold, and you would become very cold. So this jacket stops the heat from moving, so your body stays warm. These objects over here, maybe you have noticed what they are: gold, iron, aluminium, copper, steel, and silver. They are all metals. Metals are excellent thermal conductors because they let the heat travel through them very quickly. So the whole piece of metal will become hot very quickly compared to the insulator. And you will see that is why we use most cooking utensils, things we use to cook with. We want it to get hot quickly. So most of them are made from metal. Okay, so over here you may also be given a question about this table. So when reading a table, you need to look for words that say most or least. Okay, so most, another word for most would be the best, or the least means the worst, the one that's not good. So most is your biggest number. So let's look at which one is the most in this picture. We can see silver is the most. That means it is the best conductor. And the one that is the worst, which is wood, will be the best insulator. Okay, so remember that it will be a multiple choice question. As long as you understand the concept, you should be able to answer it. On page 71, you will be asked questions about the picture. So again, like I said, I don't know which picture you will be given a question about, so you should understand every image. This picture is showing us how thermal energy is made by friction. Friction is when two objects rub together and they go in opposite directions. So friction between the match and the box causes thermal energy to be made. In the next two pictures, we may be asked about which bulb makes more light or which one makes more heat or uses more electricity. So the first bulb is called an incandescent bulb, and the second is our LED. The LED makes more light and doesn't waste as much energy. The other bulb uses more electricity. Incandescent uses more electricity because it makes less light and it wastes a lot of its energy as heat. Okay, now we're going to speak about our graph. So it is more likely that you may get this question in the exam, but again, you never know. So if you have to read a graph, look carefully at this. This is your key. In the key, you will know what to look for from the question, right? So there is heat. The heat is in black. That means 9 and 98 is the amount of heat that each bulb makes. And remember to look on the side. LED makes 9. Incandescent makes 98. Okay. Then we will look at light. Light is in yellow. LED makes 91. Incandescent makes only 2. From this, I can tell which one is better. So which bulb produces more light? Which one makes more of the yellow? It is the LED. Okay, if we were asked which bulb uses more electricity, its job is to make light, not heat. So if it is making a lot of heat, it will waste energy. It will use more electricity. So even though the question is not asked straightforward, you should understand that concept. If it's making more heat, it will use more electricity. And that would be our incandescent. Okay, maybe I may ask you how much, so the number. Okay, so for the number, you need to again look at our boxes, right? How much light is produced by each of them? So we're going to look at light and read your question carefully. The incandescent will be 2 and the LED will be 91. How much heat or light is produced by LED or incandescent? So now the question is reversed and we have heat we are looking at. So incandescent is 98 and LED is 9. Okay, please scan the code or join using this code over here and give this lesson some practice. Good luck.